What's up, fellow rhythm nerds? Pete Gallia here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel, and I'm very excited to bring you another rudimental snare drumming video today about a hybrid rudiment called the book report. So I recently decided I wanted to get into the world of... Wait, hold on a second. Did you guys see that right down there? Mr. Editor, can we have that again, please? Check that out. Isn't that cool? Oh, we got the subscribe button, we got the follow on Instagram and all that. All right. Little shout out to my friend Chris. Thanks, bro, for making those for me. I'm not at all capable of making motion graphics, so you're the man. Anyways, back to the point. We're going to be looking at a hybrid rudiment called a book report today. I've been very inspired and interested in what these drum corps guys are doing and the incredibly high level that they're playing at with their rudiments, and how they put rudiments into rudiments into rudiments, and rudimentception, if you will. So we're going to look at that today, and I thought of maybe doing things a little bit different this time, rather than practicing something extensively like, you know, a rudiment or snare drum piece and trying to master it and then present it to you here on YouTube. I thought it might be fun to show you something I'm new at, and give you a bit of an idea how I would break things down into little digestible bits of information and make it easier to practice and deconstruct it all, and then build it up again together and give you some suggestions on maybe how you could do that and apply those same processes to whatever it is you're practicing, or maybe you want to practice this as well. Who knows? But whatever. It's fun for me, and I'm going to take you along for this journey, so let's jump in. Now, to get into the world of rudimentception, after doing a little bit of Google searching, this book report that we're going to be looking at, I've actually transcribed it down below for you. You can see it now. It's essentially a bit of a pimped out paradiddle, if you will. Try and say that really fast.
Pimped out paradiddle, pimped out paradiddle, pimped out paradiddle. Okay, let's focus.
So just to make it really clear, the way I've transcribed things, rather than using a 5-note stave, it's just a 1-line thingy. And anything written above the line is going to be with the right hand, anything below is with the left hand. Of course, if you're going to be working on a book report and it's based on a paradiddle sticking with some embellishments, you're going to need to know a paradiddle pretty well, I would think. So just as a reminder, of course, we've got right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And we're going to be accenting the first of every 4 notes. Some might even say that without the accent it's technically not a paradiddle, but let's not awaken the Kraken here and just take it for granted that we're going to be using an accent on the first position, and the second note, up, is our upstroke to prepare for the accent. Down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap. So let's quickly and briefly discuss kind of what's added to the paradiddle to make it a book report. As you can see on the first position, we've got an accented double stroke, also known as a control stroke. So it's important that you kind of work on that separately, of course. More on that in a moment. Next up, second position of the paradiddle. Absolutely nothing different about it. Got a nice little unaccented ghost note in there. On the third position, we've got an unaccented flam. Now, you might be used to playing flams in an accented fashion. Of course, flams don't always have to be accented. Exhibit A would be a flamacue, where the first position is your flam unaccented and it's followed by an accent afterwards. That's just a good thing to keep in mind. Flams don't have to be accented, and it's good to practice both to be able to use them as and when you please in your playing. Now, last but not least, on the fourth position, we've just got a little double stroke. So from paradiddle, paradiddle, we've got the 3 embellishments to make it. And that's essentially our book report. So, first things first, remember we're going to keep the accent on the first position of the paradiddle all throughout for the sake of making sure the hand choreography remains the same. And what we're going to be doing is tackling the paradiddle pattern essentially with one embellishment at a time. And we'll be isolating them and then putting them together, working with a basis of a normal paradiddle also. And that should pretty much cover everything we need to do to play this hybrid rudiment. So, first and foremost, what I would do is, as you can see, exercise A below is adding that control stroke on the first position of the paradiddle. This, in the PAS list of 40 rudiments, is known as a single drag-a-diddle, which to me logically doesn't really make sense. I would think what we're going to do later as exercise C would make more sense as a single drag-a-diddle, but who cares what I think? It's just a case of nomenclature at the end of the day. As long as we know what sound we want to do, that's really what matters. So let's begin with a basis of paradiddles. It's all notated in 2/4 below, as you can see, and we're going to be doing 2 bars of 2/4 or 1 bar of 4/4, whatever, 4 beats, and we're going to be doing A-B, basis and pattern between paradiddle and first and foremost exercise A. So let's give that a try now, nice and slowly. So that's a pretty good starting point for that first little embellishment. Now, a couple of things I want to note just to make it a bit clearer, maybe it makes your life easier as well. First and foremost, I would recommend that you keep a bit more of a grip in the back of the hand, especially in terms of molar movements and moving from the back of the wrist. We're not going to get into molar today, but it's certainly playing a part over here. But playing a control stroke, so a double stroke with an accent on the first position, it's going to be much easier if you're relaxing the front of the hand so that essentially you're relaxed but fairly firm in the back of the hand, and it's the extra momentum that's left over in the stick from that accent which gives you that second little unaccented stroke. So that's a little note on control strokes. Now, in terms of this little breakdown of the book report, I just want to give you a little reminder that the third position later is gonna be an unaccented flam. So when it comes time to do that later on, your right hand is gonna be playing accent and then the little extra tap, and you've got the note on the left hand, and when you come to play that unaccented flam, you are gonna want to have a little bit of a difference in the stick heights here, because of course if you don't, you just end up with a flat flam or unison, whatever you want to call it. So just keep that in mind for later on, that there's not just accented and unaccented, just like 2 stick heights. It's a bit more helpful if you think of it a little bit more fluidly, and that might allow you to play accents, unaccented notes, accented flams, unaccented flams, etc., etc., and you're gonna need a whole range of stick heights all the way from here to up here to be able to execute all those. So let's play it just a little bit faster, paradiddle, and then single drag-a-diddle as exercise A. 1, 2, 1, 2. Fun times. So that would be the first thing you want to look at. Now let's move on to exercise B. Exercise B concerns the little unaccented flam that you have on the third position of the paradiddle, and you could consider this maybe like a single flammed mill, but with the accent on the single stroke rather than on the flam, which begins the sort of double stroke. Single flammed mill being this. But we're going to be playing So let's study it in the same way by doing basis for 4 beats and then exercise B for 4 beats. So let's start with that paradiddle. 1, 2, 1, 2. So there we have exercise B, and there's a very important thing I would like to note that I kind of noticed as I was putting this video together, putting the notation and practicing it a little bit, is that in your standard paradiddle, you're lifting on that second position, but since we're playing a flam on the third position, your upstroke actually moves onto the grace note of that flam. So the first little note of that flam, the little embellishment, that is now where we're going to be lifting. So rather than up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap, it's going to be up, up, up. You can see that I'm lifting on that little there, 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 there. Right, so you need to make sure that you know where your sticks are going to be coming up in preparation for the next accent. Now, before we move on, let's have a look at it just a little bit faster once more. 1, 2, 1. Happy days. So finally, we're going to look at that little double stroke on the fourth position of the paradiddle. Now, in my humble opinion, it seems to make more sense to me that this would be called a single dragadiddle, but is what it is. Let's try it now. So we're going to go paradiddle, 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 like a paradiddle. So when we put it in context of the normal paradiddle and then exercise C, it's going to sound a little bit like this. So there's not too much to get confused about here in terms of the choreography or accenting or anything like that. So let's just move straight to playing it a little bit faster now. 1, 2, 1, and 2, and. There we have it. And that's all 3 examples of the little embellishments that we add to pimp out our paradiddle into being a book report. So the next step would be to kind of join them together, and let's go through that briefly. It's pretty self-explanatory, but might be nice to show it also here today. So first would be to look at A and B together, which would be the control stroke and the unaccented flam. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, and 2, and. Next up would be B and C, which is your unaccented flam with the unaccented double stroke. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, and 2, and. And last but not least, in the terms of combining these, would be A and C. And this is quite a fun one because you've got 2 double strokes back to back when it turns around, essentially, and you've got that accent in the middle, which makes it really nice. So let's have a look at that now. 1, 2, 1, and 2. I really like that. I'll be working on that for sure in the next couple of weeks. It's like, but with an accent. That's really challenging. Cool. Nice one. I like it. So finally, once you've put all the different combinations together, let's A-B between a paradiddle and the famous book report. Let's go. 1, 2, 1, and 2, and. Good fun. Now, as a final idea I want to share, maybe you want to sequence all of the different options and we can do A, B, C, A, B, B, C, A, C, and then the book report. Let's hope I remember where I am going through all of that, but let's give that a try now. Also another idea, you know, if you're practicing and you don't necessarily want to do it with the basses all the time, just pick 2 random ones and go between them, see what happens, see what you can come up with, or make a long sequence like I just did and pray for dear life, hope for the best that you get through it, and see what happens with that. So, boom. That brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something. I thought it might be cool to, you know, just kind of break things down a bit more at a starting point for me and show you a little bit how I would do something when I'm not necessarily that comfortable with it. This is still pretty new for me, so maybe it's nice to also get a little honest look at something like this and a little bit of ideas on how to practice, considering there's so much polished content and everybody trying to show perfection online in their content, but it's not always the case. So there we have it. So that's just a little bit of insight into how I would break something down. I'm gonna continue to practice this quite extensively for a long time because I'm just starting to understand it, and there's a lot of work left to be done. I would say the main thing, if I would have to reflect on my own situation, the main thing would probably be to be more relaxed on the left hand control stroke and linking it into that unaccented flam. I can actually sometimes feel the tension, you know, coming up to here, sometimes also up to my jaw a little bit sometimes. Because even a tiny bit of tension somewhere down here can manifest elsewhere in your body, in your back, in your neck. So do be really careful about those things. I would say that's kind of what I would focus on in my case, and what I definitely will be, because it needs a lot of work. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video and that you learned something that you can apply to your own practice sessions. If you dig it, please click like, maybe consider subscribing, helping me grow this little YouTube channel I've been working on for a while now. And if you have any suggestions for future content, I'm super willing to hear it, or any questions, anything you want to discuss, put a comment down below. Perhaps I can answer a question and help you out, or somebody else watching this video has a helpful piece of insight and we can start a nice discussion. Other than that, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope to see you in the next one. Happy practicing. Cheers. Take care.